Hi guys, how are you doing? This is Madhvi from TaroticallySpeaking.com and elearntarot.com, and we are continuing our Decan Walk. And today we are going to explore the decans of the sign Sagittarius. First of all, I do want to apologize for how late this video is coming up because, well, it's my fault. I I got I was busy fulfilling the annual reading orders, and I thought, well, I'll do one reading in the morning, and I'll sit and work on the presentations, and I did not factor in time for. I mean, I didn't realize how exhausted I would get, and that was something. Anyhow, so I'm back. Here we are. We're doing this. And here we are in Sagittarius. I mean, I know it Sagittarius period kind of, from 23rd November to 21st of December. And today, as I'm recording it, it is the 17th. So it's like cutting it pretty close. Yeah, Sagittarius has that sense of adventure, doesn't it? So I think I'm embodying it. I'm kind of living that whole thing. Okay, so let's go ahead. Better late than never, and all of that. I hope you guys forgive me for the delay, please. All right, so let's proceed. Let's look at Sagittarius. Of course, yes. All the different links are in the description. The handouts, the worksheets, and everything. If you've been following this series, or you'll find all the links in description. You'll also find a link to the blog post that I will create out of this. Uh, and that link will, if you go there, you'll find journaling prompts, which, I think up when I'm writing everything down or I'm cleaning up or editing the text. So that's something new over there. And yes, of course, you can absolutely adjust the playback speed to what makes it easy for you to listen and understand what's going on. All right. Okay, with all the instructions and stuff. And yes, please, yes, this also like, share, subscribe, right? And subscribe to the channel, subscribe to my newsletter, because there's stuff right in the newsletter that I do send out now and then. So there's that. Please. And please like and subscribe because that truly, I don't know, just I think it helps the algorithm and the visibility and all of this. And I do honestly I appreciate it a lot. So thank you. All right. So let's proceed. Okay. Here we go. Sagittarius. Right, this is the sign, the decans of which we are gonna be looking at in this video, in this whole thing. So what is Sagittarius all about? What's the whole vibe? Now, this card from the Star Codes Astro Oracle has the keyword expand on it, which is interesting because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Okay, and Jupiter is all about expansion, as we know. We also see, Sagittarius in this very interesting sort of form. It's half, man and half a horse. We also have him as an archer because that was the whole thing of Sagittarius, right? Actually, the name Sagittarius is for the constellation. This person or this creature, this character, if you will, is called Chiron. Okay, Chiron, that's the spelling. And he was the son of the Titan Cronus and the nymph Philira, Phillyra. That's the spelling. Okay, so he's supposed to be this, he's like a half man, half horse, right? And so these creatures were called centaurs. And most centaurs that lived around that time were violent and lacked intelligence and whatnot. But because this guy was the son of the Titan Cronus and the nymph Philira, he kind of had, more higher intelligence, I suppose. And so he was, different from them. He was gentle, he was compassionate, and he was a master of medicine and prophecy and hunting and archery, hence the bow and arrow, right? And he was known for his wisdom and his ability to teach, which made him a teacher of many of the famous sort of players in Greek mythology, which include Hercules, Achilles, Jason, Asclepius, Perseus. So like if you get into Greek mythology and start looking for these were like heroes in their own right, doing all sorts of heroic things. and Chiron was actually their teacher. And he was immortal because he was the son of a titan and that nymph. So he was more or less, he was immortal, and he was a gentle, kind person. He was a teacher, he was a healer. And one day, by mistake, Hercules ends up shooting him with an arrow, and that arrow actually was tipped with the poison of the Hydra, right? And Hydra is also another sort of villain, not from the Marvel movies, but an actual sort of a snake thing, which is kind of maybe the inspiration for the Marvel villain. Anyway, the point is, um, so this is a poisonous arrow that has struck Chiron. And so he's an immortal, he can't die, but that poison is horribly painful. And that also gives rise to the whole wounded healer archetype, because, well, Chiron was supposed to be a healer, but he couldn't heal himself and the wound that he had, right? And this whole suffering was horrible. And so what happened was, I believe he trades his immortality with Prometheus, who so even in that process, he ends Prometheus's suffering, and then Chiron becomes mortal and he's sort of free to die. But so he's then so in recognition of this, he's elevated to the heavens. Now, if you guys don't know the myth of Prometheus, very quickly Prometheus stole the fire and gave it to the humans, to the mortals. That was that was his crime, apparently, and for that Zeus sort of punished him, uh, to have his liver eaten by the eagles and birds every day, and then the liver grows back, because interestingly, the liver is that part of the body that kind of grows back. So then his liver would grow back overnight, and in the morning the birds would come and feast off of him again. And that was his sort of eternal punishment for Prometheus. So again, Prometheus was also immortal, so couldn't die. And that was kind of his punishment for giving fire of the gods to us mere mortals. So Chiron, in this way, kind of even freed Prometheus and freed himself from that suffering. So all of this, right, this whole myth, this whole story, helps us understand, first of all, that wounded healer archetype which Chiron is embodying. And then we come back to the energy of the sign Sagittarius, and we see how all these different aspects sort of combine and bring the whole vibe together. And so Sagittarius, being it's a fire sign, so it's obviously got all those fiery properties of passion and energy and all of that. And so we have most Sagittarius people will be joyful, cheerful, enthusiastic. They'll have a sense of humor. They'll be very optimistic. They will be adventure seekers and thrill seekers, very passionate. But also, they want to expand their horizons, both for the inner and outer worlds, right? So it's not just on the surface, it goes deep. They want to know more, they want to see more, they want to, open up their mind. They like to travel, they like to gather experiences and wisdom. They also like to help others, broaden their horizons and all of that. They have with fire energy, it brings the strength and the stamina that is necessary. They're very outdoorsy, very restless and curious. And this whole truth seeking, it also involves seeking meaning in whatever they're doing, right? They want everything should be meaningful and purposeful. And they are looking for that. They transform their knowledge into wisdom. So Sagittarius also is about higher education. It's about seeking the abstract truths and seeing like philosophy and big thinking. The Jupiterian energy, I guess, expands on everything, like makes their mind open, perspectives are opened. And so Jupiter also brings the belief, philosophy, the religion, right? The study of the metaphysical, all of that. Now, Sagittarius can also be a straight shooter, and they can really, they can sometimes they can sometimes ruffle some feathers with their, with whatever they're saying. But it's all meant in a good way, I suppose, and they don't really want to ruffle feathers, but that's how they say things, right? Interestingly, they can be quite ambitious and they act on their convictions, which kind of gives them that righteous purpose kind of a thing. They enjoy the achievements that they make and they strive for higher goals. They have a great reverence for humanity and they can, they look very sophisticated and noble and confident, right? Now, on the other hand, sort of like if things go extreme, they can be reckless. Their whole beliefs and philosophy and the religion and all of that, that can make them dogmatic. Their straight shooting can sometimes, make them look tactless. Their whole thing about, share, make helping others broaden their horizons can also be seen as pushing their beliefs onto others, right? Their whole acting on their convictions kind of can seem self-righteous. So occasionally they can become very hypocritical and arrogant. They like to show off. They are very concerned with outward appearances. They can be therefore sometimes seen as irresponsible or superficial, restless, and well, lazy for some reason. It's there in the book. I mean, that can happen. Hmm? Now, so these are the kind of very interesting energies that Sagittarian people and the sign of Sagittarius kind of embodies. Okay. Now, with that, when we look at the associated tarot card, which is Temperance, we see a very slightly different vibe, I think, right? So, for example, now most of these pictures, you will see there is a person or an angel of, like, oh yeah, or at least with the Rider Waite, the Marseille, and with the Telos Tarot, we have a person with the wings, so that's an angel. Here in the Thoth, it's a very different image, no wings, but there's something else going on. And there's definitely always two cups or two different things, and they're pouring either into each other or onto something. So there's that similar theme emerges. What's happening here is it's about transformation. It's about blending. It's about the alchemical sort of union of opposites, if you will. So again, the whole vibe of Sagittarius being of exploration, of adventure, of passion, of philosophy, of healing, and we see snippets of it in these images, right? In the Rider Waite, for example, we see this angel who is supposed to be the angel Michael, and he is actually he's pouring the from the bottom cup and it's going to the top cup. Okay, and this whole imagery is concerned with alchemy, actually, because in alchemy there's a stage where ultimately silver becomes converted to gold, and that's kind of where they're at. And essence, in that essence, it's trying to it's trying to show that, okay, there's an evolution happening here, there's a transformation happening here, right? His one foot in water, one foot on land, so there's that balance between practical and emotional. We see this crown thing in the background, so it's like ego has been dropped. We see these irises, which are, the goddess of rainbows, who's supposed to be this messenger goddess, connecting with the divine. The angels are also, connecting with the divine. So it's all of this energy here. This card can talk about mastery. It can talk about the teacher. So there's that teaching energy here, right? The inner and outer transformation that is happening. This can be, the different energies of Sagittarius, right? As you heal, as you travel, you understand, you transform, you become the master. So there's like very, snippets and shades of it. You do see that here. Hmm? Over here, even in the Marseille Tarot, it's a similar image with the angel and the two sort of jugs, I guess, the liquid going. And so we have that blending, purification, integration of opposites, right? Restraint, mediation, and that is also a function of what sort of Chiron did, mediate between the different, between the gods and the creatures, the centaurs, right? And that's how he became the teacher. And forgiveness and healing, right? All of this, the spiritual alchemy. Hmm? Um, in the thoughts, we see again a very different, thought is always interesting. We have an androgynous figure actually with two heads and multiple breasts, which is interesting. And so there's this whole duality kind of, merging here. And this the multiple breasts are all about nourishing, and we have a green dress that is decorated with bees. So bees are again about fertility and nature because they spread the pollen. And she's mixing sulfur or fire with water or mercury. So again, there's a mixing of two different elements. And so this is the alchemical art of uniting the opposites. And again, we have this golden kettle, um, with a skull and raven. It's here, yeah. and, and so we have putrefaction and death as necessary fermentation process for new life. That's what it says in the book. And then this white lion and the red eagle, again the reversal of normal reality. And then we have the rainbow colored stream of light with the arrow rising up from the kettle, which is released energy awakening the spirit. So the rainbow is here. Right. So, and again, there's a Latin inscription here, which says Visitia interiora terre rectificando in Venice occultum lapidem. Okay, I'm not trained in Latin, so my pronunciation could be all over the place, but that's the best I could make of it. It basically means visit the interior parts of Earth. By rectification, you shall find the hidden stone. So it could be the philosopher's stone ultimately, because that's the whole thing about alchemy, was the search for this philosopher's stone. Interestingly, philosophy is, the realm of Sagittarius as well. Who knew? I would see connections. And then finally, the Telos Tarot, we see a lot of this, shades here. We have, this is Diana, the huntress, winged and crowned goddess with a flashing golden belt. From her right hand, she pours flame of okay. So this sulfur thing, the fire, she pours upon the eagle, and with the left hand she's pouring water upon the lion. And between her feet we have a moon-shaped cauldron. This that is, and smokes that comes out is perfume. Okay. So again, this is again alchemical tempering, the union of opposites. So what they're trying to show here, I say, is this process of alchemy, which is essentially through chemistry looking for the philosopher's stone. Yes, but also it was also symbolic, perhaps. And then we see this whole, opposites unite, synthesize. It's about inner and outer, which is also kind of the Sagittarian energy in itself. And so we do see all of that showing up here in this card, right? And the whole mastery and the evolution, and then sort of sharing that, teaching that we can see that here as well. So the Thoth and Telos cards are called art, which I like because art is also a process of, bringing that inner thing on the outer world, and in this process, everything evolves, even inside and out. When you create something, it's a very interesting process of evolution that happens. Hmm? Okay, so now that we've understood the whole energy, let's go look at the decans. First decan is connected with your Eight of Wands, which is Mercury in Sagittarius. And this is the first 10 degrees of Sagittarius, from the time frame being 23rd of November to the 2nd of December. The Picatrix description reads, three bodies, first is red, second is white, and third is red. And it is associated with valor, activity, pleasure, patience, and chivalry. Again, we see a similar image here in the Telos deck. We see three images of Mercury, actually, right? One is black, one is red, and one is white. So, and we also see the rainbow, which is interesting, and these lightning bolts, right? So, this card again is about speed and messages and deliveries and a whole bunch of stuff, which we will look at in depth when we look at the Eight of Wands cards. But here, this description essentially, I honestly don't know what the whole point is about this, the three figures, but it's about activity, it's about valor, it's about sort of doing things, and patience as well. So that's an interesting part of it. Now, Mercury over here in this first decan, right? Mercury is, as we know, about the mind. It's about intellectual stimulation, it's about reason, it's about expression of thoughts and ideas, it's about communication and learning and curiosity, commerce, right? Transitions, adaptability. And Mercury is also a trickster, fickle, and all of that. So when we see this energy here, and this is the ruler of this decan, and in our tarot cards, this Mercury is connected with the Magician card, again, with the ability to manifest things by his will, right? He's able to communicate, he's able to be creative. He's able to, like the way they show is in the Rider-Waite, in the Marseille tarot deck, even in the Telos tarot deck, and through the image of the Thoth, all these decks actually, honestly, he has all the elements in front of him that he can manipulate and control, and that, with his ability of sort of being able to transition through all the realms and to communicate with all these energies, he's able to make things happen. So this is a guy who can make things happen. This is the energy of communication, of creativity, of manifestation. It's about mental agility. It's about skills. It's about sleight of hand, misdirection, and trickery also. All these are very mercurial sort of vibes. And so when this energy shows up in Sagittarius, now I would say another interpretation is this deck is card from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Here, Mercury is associated with change, Sagittarius with optimism and adventure, and between the two of them, the card is therefore called Discovery. Interestingly, from a very astrological perspective, Mercury is in detriment in Sagittarius, so that just kind of impedes it a little bit, I suppose. However, in this interpretation, we do see that they kind of, are very much aligned in a way. Mercury is all about the adventure, so is Sagittarius, right? So this is a mind that responds well to further education. This is the continual search for personal philosophy and truth. So here, I guess, because it's in detriment, you do need a little bit of a push, and it will go. right? So then discovering a philosophy or religion. This is also about seemingly prophetic insight into public trends and opinions. Uh, Successful at playing hunches. Say what they think and mean it. It's that whole, again, Sagittarius and Mercury line here a little bit. Conventional involvement in politics. They like people and people like them. Mm. This energy is also good for planning a long trip. These are people who love traveling, love the company of people from another culture. This could indicate a visit from someone abroad. It's about learning a foreign language, following a mentor or a guru. And the sort of negative aspect of this energy is that, other people's attitudes and opinions matter and color their ideas and decisions. Okay. I guess in detriment, Mercury is more like, okay, I want to please everybody and I want to appeal to everybody, right? And using the ability of having their finger on the pulse of the zeitgeist to gain popularity. Yes, they're all about that. That ego needs to be sort of, So here, even though Mercury is in detriment, so it does sort of need a little bit of a push. But I think once it's given that push, it just thrives in this Sagittarian space, I would say, right? And our tarot card is Eight of Wands, so the energy of eight also sort of comes into play here. Eight being all about accomplishment, consolidation, refining, change, transformation, uh, shift in direction, ambition, right? Law, balance, and self destructive. Yes, that too. So all of this sort of merges, and now we see the Eight of Wands, right? This is one of those cards where there's no people. We just see eight wands. They are drawn parallel to each other, so they're in harmony, is how I would interpret it, right? And so there's a swift movement forward, lots of positive and harmonious energy. Everything like which requires this wand's power kind of moves nicely in tandem. So multiple things moving smoothly is how I've often seen this card show up. In the Marseille Tarot, we see four wands bunched up and crisscrossed against other four wands, right? So here is a different interpretation. We see these little flower things popping up at two ends, right? So here this talks about regulation, rules, structures. The whole eight energy really comes into play here, right? And people can only advance by following rules. Everything is it's this is very nice structured movement in a complex situation. A maze of crossing paths. Do you see this? Putting thoughts and actions in order, right? It's nice. It's so there's that little vibe of everything harmoniously moves, but orderly fashion. It has to be organized and structured. Um, in the thought, the keyword is swiftness. So we do see that swiftness coming in. We see these lightning bolts, right? These are eight lightning bolts, and they go in all, I guess, eight directions. And we have this three-dimensional octahedron. So, and then the rainbow's there, right? So we have all these flashes of inspiration that come in from the higher worlds and they penetrate our reality. These lightning bolts are flashes of inspiration. Mercury is inspiration, yes. And in Sagittarius, it brings breakthroughs and insights. And so it's like, ooh, and then we have the rainbow bringing that connection between the spiritual and the earthly world. So everything is just like you are getting these sudden solutions to problems. You have these inspirational flashes. You have things happening which are positive. You have foreign business deals because Sagittarius, and you have overcoming old patterns because eight is also about structures and patterns. So now this inspiration helps you, sudden insights give you that energy you need to sort of move past those patterns. And of course there's an interesting one called love at first sight. Hmm. And then here we go with the telos deck. We have these three versions, black, red, and white. So this is like different shades of Mercury. That's how I'm interpreting it, right? You do see the rainbow come in. So there is that. We have speed, messages, deliveries, all the Mercury energies, communications, inspired but fleeting light bulb moments, flashes of inspiration, brainstorming, growth, boldness, liberty, travel, warfare, virulent propagation, right? So anything that spreads, mad like a virus, I suppose. Dissemination of ideas and propaganda, sales ability. In the modern context, this one could also talk about videos that go viral or any kind of content really that goes viral. Yes. So this is the Eight of Wands energy of Mercury in Sagittarius. And this is interesting because again, like this whole Sagittarian vibe of learning and philosophy and ideas, and Mercury of communication and inspiration. So it all combines to make things move and spread, and especially in these fields of even travel and wisdom and philosophy and all of that. And that is your Eight of Wands, Mercury in Sagittarius. And here you can see all these cards together in one place. Enjoy. All your magician and the Mercury, this Eight of Wands, Mercury in Sag, and all the Sagittarius cards. There you go. Becatrix Decans. Interesting, no? Then we go to the next decan, which is the Nine of Wands. Here we have Moon in Sagittarius, right? And this decan, it's from the 3rd of December to the 12th of December. Okay, so let's find out about this. This is the degrees are 11 to 20 of Sagittarius. The Picatrix description is a man driving cows. Here we go. And a monkey and a wolf in front of him. So there is a monkey, there's a bear. And yeah, I guess this one is a monkey or an ape and a bear. So again, different books have slightly different variations. There is a bear here. So we have a man with cows, and then we have a bear, monkey, a wolf, all these creatures sort of, in his path. It's about fright, loss, weeping, fear, sadness, and violence. Okay. So we look at this description, but we do see this essentially, we look at these meanings later for the Telos deck, but we do see this description show up here. And so this is a guy who's kind of just going about his business, I suppose. And then we have all these creatures in his path sort of scaring him. And I guess that matches, that tracks. And this is Moon in Sagittarius, okay? So we know the energy of Moon. Moon is a water planet, or not planet, satellite, water body. Yes, it rules the sign of Cancer, and it's about personality. It's about emotions. It's about satisfaction. It's about motherhood and nurturing. It's about receptivity and the feminine energies. It's about instinct, intuition, inner motivations, inner calling, the emotional undercurrents, and also insecurities, anxieties, and fears. So, moon is all of these things. And because of the nature of the moon, the phases and whatnot, moon can be very changeable, and it kind of, all these things can be up and down, the intensity can go up and down depending on the phase of the moon. So, there's all this moon energy in the tarot represented by the high priestess, right? So she's all about that inner knowledge and inner wisdom. She's about silence and contemplation. She's about intuition, empathy. She is all about sort of the inner transformation, if you will. It's like the quiet feminine wisdom and insight. She has potential and she can manifest it if she chooses to. She's about the ability. So she's also just, connected with Persephone, who also has the ability, like Mercury, to go from the underworld to the mortal realm. And so that's interesting. And but she's all these things. So here the high priestess is all about that inner guidance, that inner feminine wisdom, that is very, it seems passive, but really is creating the necessary undercurrents for inner growth, inner development, right? And now this energy showing up in Sagittarius, the Oracle of the Radiant Sun has given this card the title Optimism, right? And this picture is very interesting. We see a damsel riding a pair of seahorses. The horse is Sagittarius's beast, and the fishtails represent the watery moon. Okay. In the sky is a cherub leading the voodoo ritual diagram that conjures truth, justice, and love ruled by reason. I suppose this. All right, all this, whatever. Point is, here moon is in Sagittarius. Moon in this, in this deck, the keyword they've assigned is security, and Sagittarius is optimism and adventure. Together, we have a situation where, it's emotionally idealistic. Mm? These are people who express feelings honestly and expect that others will also equally be, straightforward with them. They can be confident and very frank. Seems like that's a feature of Sagittarius too. Like we had that energy with the previous decan too, right? And here also moon is encouraging you to just sort of be yourself in a way. They can have far thinking abilities. They have their sights set on distant lands and truths. Again, very Sagittarius. They enjoy traveling. Now, with the moon, there's this whole deep unconscious and emotional attachment to very Sagittarian traits of religious, social, and ethical values that are inherited from family during childhood. Very moon again. Now, on the negative side, if you will, this can make them narrow and dogmatic. Social or religious outlook, it can give them that. This is extreme and immovable and fundamentalist. All right. So this is Moon and Sagittarius vibe. According to this deck, it's something uh, where again the very Moon qualities of intuition kind of combine with these Sagittarian qualities, and you get someone who's honest, very honest, and loves to travel, and has this deep attachment to all these the religious and social and ethical values that they got from their family, right? Then we combine this with the energy of the number 9, which is all about culmination, completion, the rewards and consequences. It is about humanitarian energies, about social reform. It's about karma. It can be about disappointment as well. So all of these energies combine. And then we get the 9 of Wands in the tarot, right? Ooh, in the Rider-Waite, we see this very familiar image of a young man with a bandage on his head, and we have these 8 wands, and he's holding on to the ninth one. He's like, I'm going to protect myself. That's the whole vibe. He's built that little barrier, if you will, and his past hurt is seen there with the bandage and his sort of posture and everything. We see that he's like, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm not going to get hurt again, kind of thing, right? And he's just being protective. What happens here with the Tarot de Marseille is this is the same, structure of the 8 of Wands, but now the ninth wand has come in and sort of stuck right through the middle of this structure. So whatever was harmoniously happening in the 8, that whole structured movement in a complex or whatever structure again or this organized movement in a complex organized structure, we have something is interrupting it, right? So difficulties and oppositions force a stop of this movement. there's a struggle, and it's hard to overcome this opposition, and so it can be a challenging period. Hmm? But in the thoth, this one's called strength. Okay, we see again a similar structure. We have these 8 sort of arrows crisscross. They're pointing downwards. So these are forces that activate the unconscious energies, right? And these tips again, they look like, moon crescents. That's interesting. And we have another arrow that goes pointing downward, which has that moon crescent. But then here we have something like a solar orb, if you will. And this is like connecting the sun and the moon energies in a way. Mm? And this is like the harmony between the conscious and the unconscious mind. And what happens is, therefore, this one is about the flow of energy, the abundance of resources, anticipation, inspiration, right? This very mercurial, and trusting one's abilities, courage and commitment to begin a new plan and reaching a new level of enthusiasm. So this image is completely, different, if you will, in terms of the vibe of the Rider-Waite-Smith and the Marseille tarot, right? Rider-Waite was all about, being protective, which is a very moon energy, if you will, like, like I want to protect my, the whole energy of Cancer, if anything. And Sagittarius again is about philosophy, belief, I suppose, my principles, my ideas, my thoughts. I'm being protective of them here. In here we see that this energy is interrupting this sort of this structured and stable movement of the 8, and creates a challenging vibe here. But here in the thoth, we see a completely different picture. We are actually seeing that energy is flowing because of the connection between the conscious and the unconscious. That everything starts to move, and you do get to see a little bit of bravery and a push towards the reaching the next level in terms of going to where you want to get at, right? And then finally, in the telos, we see that image, this man taking his cows, and then he's sort of blocked on his path by this ape and this bear. So this is interesting because I think the telos image kind of combines a little bit of all these 3 previous cards, because we see like, hey, look forward, be flexible, right? And this is the ability to adapt to change, which gives strength. This is a steadiness and a balance between the solar and lunar forces that gives ability to unify conscious and unconscious power. But then this is a good one: vigilant and ready to hit the target, align the mind and body, and the ability to adapt with cunning. So, like you can see, as Sagittarius, he's got the bow and arrow, yeah, and so he can protect his cows and himself from, should these creatures attack him. So he's prepared. He's not just randomly going there with his cows. He's prepared. He can take care of himself if he needs to. But he's Sagittarius, he needs to travel, he will go. He will go where he has to. And the moon energy gives him that little intuitive sort of awareness, if you will, and he's ready, he's prepared. It's that 9 energy, the strength of that 9 energy there. So I think we see the shades of all these 3 cards in this telos card. I think that's what I see. It's like the challenges will come, but he will figure it out. He's adapting to whatever's coming. Hmm? So that's the 9 of Wands, Moon in Sagittarius. And it's interesting because Moon, as I said, is very changeable. So you see different shades of it in each of these 4 cards. And Sagittarius vibe, so that's like the playground where all this is happening. Okay, so here we go. 9 of Wands, all the cards in one page. Hmm? Okay, so now let's move to the next decan, which is the third decan, which is the 10 of Wands, Saturn in Sagittarius. Oof. And this covers the time frame from the 13th of December to the 21st of December. Okay. Well, this is the last 10 degrees of Sagittarius, so 21 to 30. And the Picatrix description is a man wearing a cap of gold on his head, killing another man. Ooh, violent, yeah? And the whole energy is taking risks, unwarranted involvement, exerting efforts in disgraceful, shameful, and harmful actions. Hmm, right? This is a bad bad Decan as such. And here we do see this guy. Here we have he's got like these 10 sticks tied up together with an axe, I believe, and he's gonna, oh my god, he's gonna hurt this guy. Yes, we'll of course look in the meanings later, but this is the vibe. Saturn in this decan in of Sagittarius is kind of being not good at all. Right, now we do remember the mythology of Saturn. He did swallow all his children, so there's that. Okay, so Saturn, as we know, the planet, the energy of this planet, he's an Earth planet and rules Capricorn and Aquarius. And he is about wisdom, maturity through adversity, right? Responsibilities, duty, authority, personal authority, duty, accountability, karmic justice, humility, service without expectations, but also boundaries, borders, structures, foundations, traditions, discipline, ambition, time, longevity, control, stability, patience, all of this, determination, pragmatism, right? And on the negative, it can be restrictions, obstacles, struggles, delays, stuck in the old ways, hard work, trials, and karma, right? So Saturn brings a whole mix of things and generally is a very feared planet for some reason, you know. And in our tarot, Saturn is associated actually with the World card, right? Where I've gone into this a few times, every time we've encountered Saturn, that, I look at this sort of laurel wreath or this circle, and it reminds me of the rings of Saturn, right? We do see this is the card of completion and fulfillment and accomplishment of goals. This is about travel. This is about manifestation, and all of this. It's the end of whatever this long journey was. And so Saturn, you do see that energy here, along with all the other elements that make up the tarot world. We do see the four fixed signs or four corners, and we see sort of the lady that's dancing to the tune of the universe in the center of that sort of circle or wreath. And so we do see that. We do see this, aspects of Saturn showing up in the energy or the imagery of the world card, of all the four world cards here that we're looking at. So there is that. So with that, when we look at, the Oracle of the Radiant Sun has this card, Saturn in Sagittarius, they call it, the keyword is fulfillment. Here, Saturn is about ambition and Sagittarius is about optimism and adventure. So when that combines, clearly that's things are nice, yeah? This is about fulfilling a quest for knowledge and truth. uh Even when you look at this picture, we see this guy, he's sitting waiting for the boat and the ship, and he'll go abroad, right? Here we see a sack of money, right? And this is an ancient talisman that brings good fortune in any lottery. So he's traveling maybe to do business or trade, and I guess he's just praying for luck. Yeah. So here we see a very positive side to this sort of combination. And I've often mentioned that this deck does have that vibe. So there's that, right? But yeah, so this Saturn energy over here is about the ambitious vibe, right? So here he will go travel, Sagittarius, travel to fulfill his ambitions. He will become an authority, Saturn, of philosophy and religion, which is Sagittarius. He will speak out and stick to a moral code, very Sagittarius. Moral code is Saturn, speak out is Sagittarius. Unable to stand hypocrisy, I guess both. There's a solid sense of achievement, a realistic optimism, a long distance business trip, successful culmination of an ambitious business venture. On the sort of negative side, this can be self righteous. They can impose their philosophy and ethics on others and be blunt. This whole blunt thing is kind of the feature with Sagittarius, isn't it? I'm starting to see that. But and you know what? I have experienced that too, and I have no problems. I like it. Among the various signs that I actually do get along with, as a Leo rising and a Capricorn sun, mind you, Sagittarians. Yes. I've interestingly discovered that people that I do get along with have a very interesting Sagittarius connection. So there's that. Okay. So yeah, the number 10, because this is associated with the 10 of Wands. So 1 is about beginnings, and 0 is about sort of the raw material, the limitless nothingness and everythingness, if you will. And when it all combines, we see transitions. We can see either success or failure, completion and culmination, anything that goes to the extreme. There's accumulation and dissolution, the cycles of ascent and descent. So this is like the 10 combines both 1 and 0 together. Okay. With that vibe, now when we look at 10 of Wands connected with Saturn in Sagittarius, what do we see? In the Rider-Waite, we see a man who has gathered all these 10 wands, and his head is in those wands, right? He's willingly kind of taken on all these burdens. This is Saturn, right? But the burdens are like with wands, so that's that fire of Sagittarius, I suppose. And so he's like, yeah, I'm going to take it on. And he kind of, he dives right into it. This is workaholism. It can be nuts, the burdens part, but yeah. In the Marseille Tarot now, we see the same structure of the 8 wands, but now we have 2 wands that go right through the middle of it. We also see these leaves that have sprung up, right? So we do see loyalty of these two, I guess. These two overcome the entanglement of the 8. So now this is like, things are moving but within this complex structure, but now these two come in, and with the 9 there was an interruption of that movement, but now that these two, now with the 10 we have 2 wands sort of working with each other to break up this entanglement up. So this is a partnership or a relationship that goes through these difficult periods, but it endures without breaking. This is a trustworthy person in charge of, or in difficult times, sorry, and persistence pays off, and all of these things in the Marseille Tarot vibe. We see a similar drawing here in the Thoth, but this one's titled Oppression, right? So we see these 8 flaming wands. These are the blazing impulses, and they have wild flames in the background, which are uncontrolled energies. And then these 2 powerful Tibetan ritual wands in the foreground. These are control and suppression of fiery energies. So whatever is happening with these 8 wands, these 2 wands are sort of controlling it. So this is blocked development. So problems with authority, frustrations, pressure of overwork, stress, struggle for recognition, power struggle, and hopelessness. So the smooth flowing energy of the 8 is that these two are trying to control it here. Here they're trying to break past it. Here they're trying to control it. But you see how the imagery depicts it. Here they're kind of, you feel like they're going through it. Here they're over and above this. So that's a very subtle but very interesting difference. Here he's sort of taken it all on. He's holding them on. His head is in there, and he's like, I know, I embrace it. But in the Telos deck, right, we do see this guy. He's gonna kill him, right? That's also the energy of the Decan. So we have the interpretations are violent, blind force, Sagittarian fire smothered by the authoritarian regime of Saturn. Mm. Difficult to resist and carry on in the face of overbearing barbarism. Obstinate will in the pursuit of ambitions. Exhaustion via enduring responsibilities. Persevering through complete commitment to a goal despite its difficulty. So now you do see, like, it's like different shades of the same energy showing up, like in one end to the other. It's like a little less extreme to very, very extreme. And, I see this here. This is like a conscious choice to take on the burdens. Here, he's overbearing barbarism is the picture here anyhow. And here, these are trying to get, these two wands are kind of getting through this whole pressure, and here they're trying to control the flow of energy overall. So we do see different shades of Saturn in Sagittarius in this Ten of Wands imagery here. Wow. Okay. Right. That's interesting. And of course, we see this depicted all together. Hmm? Nice. So here, in this image, we get to see all three decans sort of represented together. We have Mercury, we have Moon, and we have Saturn. We have their corresponding cards from the Astrology deck. And then these are the Decan sort of cards from Picatrix deck, and the corresponding cards, the combination Astrology cards from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. And here's the Eight of Wands, Nine of Wands, and Ten of Wands, which is Mercury in Sagittarius, Moon in Sagittarius, Saturn in Sagittarius, and here are the Sagittarius cards at the bottom. Nice. Now, of course, there's the supporting cast, if you will. We have the Ace of Cups, so that that sort of emotional, how do you say, the root of the powers of water, which is interesting because Sagittarius is a fire sign, right? And it's interesting because this is also supposed to be a very spiritual card, a card talking about deep enlightenment, which is a quest that Sagittarius is on, I would say, right? And we do have the Page of Cups as well, who is the I would say on some level it's like the purest manifestation, or the youngest, very very nascent manifestation of that Ace of Cups, if it was a person, if you will, because we have this very intuitive, very genuine energy of the water person showing up here with their creativity, with their sensitivity, with their intuition and their romantic sort of vibe here. Hmm? But then for the last one, for Ten of Wands, we have the King of Wands, right? Fire, fire. Fire of fire, right? Here again, we see this very passionate energy, and the ambitious person, the creative person, the passionate person. He is motivated. He's conflict oriented. He's about, okay, constructive conflicts and goal oriented. He's courageous. He's brave. He is all about swift action and all of that. Hmm? King of Wands. Okay. So for Saturn, we get the Queen of Pentacles. All right. And so here we have again a very earthy, feminine energy, right? She's water of earth, and she is a beautiful balance between the energies of sort of nourishment and the energies of very practical earth matters. So she's actually the one who can balance, between home and work. She's efficient and creative and practical and nurturing, right? She's about stability and maturity and, intuition about money. She is also very sensual and fertile and mature and stable and trustworthy. And she has this, realistic business acumen, ambition. There's a lot of Saturn energy there, I guess. She's down to earth. She's practical. So we have all these sort of vibes of, for the Ten of Wands. I guess this is the supporting card, so some nurturing of the water energy for this, Saturn and Sagittarius can be nice, I guess, right? So this is your Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so let's put it all together. Here we have the Eight of Wands, the Nine of Wands, and the Ten of Wands. And yeah, these handouts are there. Just click the link in the description and you will find it. Whoa, okay, so thank you. Thank you for being with me on my journey, my Decan Walk, and for being patient and understanding with me, and for, walking through Sagittarius with me. And I guess I don't get to take a break. I mean, I will a little bit, but then I can't take a longer break. I will be back again very soon with the whole exploring the decans of Capricorn, which is my sun sign. I'm excited. All right, I guess I will see you guys soon. And until I see you again, please stay good, be good, and play with your cards. Bye now.